BBC 973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
Oh, but there was a news forecast that is going to take me about 3 hours to digest and pick through with both hands. I'll investigate it with all of my eyeballs. Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. There's William Hague, who said that we can't investigate Litvinenko. What was his first name? Alexander Litvinenko. He was the one who was given some nuclear sushi. The Vlad special. It wasn't sushi, was it? It was the tea what got him. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. They poisoned it with something that only a state can get hold of. This is not something you can go down to your local DIY store and pick it up there. Only a state can get hold of this particular poison that that he was done in with. It was called polonium, right? And William Hague says, oh, well, we'd love to investigate that further and see if the Russian state had anything to do with it. But sadly, we can't because, what was the reason he gave? Internal security. Some made-up excuse like that. Yeah, right, that's what it was. It wasn't Putin getting on the phone and saying, we'll never do business with you for as long as you live. You will lose hundreds of millions, if not billions of pounds. We won't give you any gas. You'll freeze to death. And they said, oh, all right then. Was it something akin to that, perhaps? And then there was Nigel Farage. Well, nothing if not amusing. Over and over and over again, he is a source of amusement. I mean, just the look of his face amuses me. His gait, his coat, his hat. Look at that cat in that hat. They called him Nazi scum, and he called them fascist scum. Wow. Is that the level of debate that we're at? There's something else about UKIP today as well. Very amusing. You'll like this, Amanda, but not a lot. How you doing, by the way?
Good. How are you?
You went on holiday. Did I miss you?
Yeah.
No. Were you away?
Not so much, no.
No. Where did you go?
I went around home.
Right.
I went to the front room, and then I went to the kitchen.
Oh, well, let's listen to you with your fancy flat. She's got a front room and a kitchen. Blimey. A wealthy new backer of the UK Independence Party claims that women who wear trousers are deliberately making themselves unattractive to men. That is what he said. He's a Greek tycoon. He's called Dimitri. He is a wealthy new backer of UKIP. And he believes that women not wearing a skirt is hostile behaviour. He gave UKIP 10 grand this year, which is a fifth of all its cash donations. They did well in the recent elections, but that hasn't transformed their financial affairs any. I mean, people like them, but only up to a certain point. Dimitri gave UKIP 5 grand in February and another £5,000 in March as the party prepared for local elections, which saw it take almost 1 in 4 votes cast. Incredible. And if that was repeated in a general election, guess how many seats they would get? That's right, 0. Try and figure that out. I can't. I've tried. He is Dimitri, the UKIP's latest benefactor, is the author of, or only benefactor, would be nearer the truth. He is the author of a 2003 book called Women in Trousers, A Rear View. Would you like me to explain it for you? In this book, called Women in Trousers, A Rear View, he photographs women from behind and comments on their clothes.
What?
I am not making this up. Hey, I bet you want to look this up on the World Wide Web. Maybe we can get it on...
now.
Yeah, OK. We'll get it in hardback. Women in Trousers, A Rear View, in which he photographs women from behind, comments on their clothes. In it, he claimed that the ratio in Britain of women wearing trousers to skirts, 10 to 1. He said the interesting thing about this phenomenon is that because women cannot... You'll like this. He said, the interesting thing about this phenomenon, let's add it to the interesting things about this phenomenon. He said, because women cannot see themselves from the rear, the vast majority of women are unaware that trousers are very unflattering to them. What are you wearing today?
I'm wearing trousers.
Get up. Turn around.
Do you want me to
No, I don't want
No.
you to turn around. Go on, give
It's
us a
just trying to
spin.
help, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
How kind.
Have you found it?
I found him. Look at what he's wearing.
Yeah, well, never mind about that. I want to see what the book's like. I want to see the front page of the book. Isn't this exciting? Meh. Trousers, he said, are made for men's bodies, which are mostly straight up and down, he said. Yeah, well, maybe in Greece, where they can't afford to eat, but in the land of plenty of chips, we're more round and round than up and down. We are some fat cows, British men. He said, women's bodies, on the other hand, consist of curves. Women have big bottoms. They are meant to have big bottoms. Countless women who would look lovely in dresses or skirts are embarrassingly unattractive in trousers, said the new backer of UKIP. He says, women know that men don't like trousers, yet they deliberately wear them. See?
I'm doing it just to spite
Yes,
you.
exactly.
Is it working?
He said, this hostile behaviour, they are deliberately dressing in a way that is opposite to what men would like. It is behaviour that flies against common sense and also flies against the normal human desire to please. You're not pleasing.
I hadn't realised.
No, well, really.
Goodness me.
Even though I've told you that over and over and over again. Neither are you helping. Have I mentioned that?
That's got nothing to do with my trousers.
Well, no. In an interview plugging the book, he was asked if he was pleased at the rise of curvy stars like Jennifer Lopez. And Dimitri, the wealthy new backer of UKIP, said, she looks like a Mexican tart. Is that like a quiche with refried beans? I've had a Mexican breakfast, but never a Mexican tart. And there's one meal I never want to repeat. Dimitri's two donations to UKIP are the first time that the 78-year-old has given money to a political party. He waited for 78 years before a party came along that he could agree with. In the first quarter of 2013, UKIP received a total of £74,150, which sounds like a lot of money for just 3 months' work. By comparison, both Labour and the Tories were given £3.7 million in the first quarter of this year. What have they done with it? UKIP Treasurer Stewart complained that recent boosts in the opinion polls have disappointingly not yet resulted in a surge of donations, which rather suggests that people were voting UKIP as not the above, rather than any love of UKIP as a party, because you would think that that would translate into donations to that party if they were really, really loving them. But apparently not. They just voted for them as none of the above. Is that true? UKIP Treasurer Stuart Wheeler complained that recent boosts in opinion polls have disappointingly not yet resulted in a surge of donations. He said it was becoming a priority to, and this is a quote, to hire some very good people to fill several roles. He says, above all, we've got to improve our policy production. For one thing, the other parties will be attacking us on is policy, and we need to be quite clear what our ripostes are, he said. And there you have everything that is wrong with politics in a nutshell. Ripostes, PR, headlines, surface. What a week for Nigel Farage. The wealthy new backer of the UKIP party claims women who wear trousers are deliberately making themselves unattractive to men. You're not helping. What's the matter with you?
Here's the book.
Women in trousers, a rear view. How much does it cost?
It's bargain,
Whoa!
really.
You can buy it for £335.99p.
They're the used ones.
Yeah, used. Ooh,
What for?
I know.
However, new, it's only $12.95.
That's insane. You can buy a new copy for £12.95 and you can buy a used copy for £335.99. That's just plain silly. Why would anybody want to do that? Unless they're a pervert.
You're suggesting that somebody would buy a book which is full of
Used.
photographs of women's bottoms.
But yeah,
You're suggesting that they might be perverts?
more expensive if it was used. 0845 6060 973. I don't really know. I can't think of a question that relates to that. I can't give you a reason to be angry and call in and shout at me. Other than, is it perhaps the case that people were voting UKIP as none of the above? Not that they had any particular love of the party or even knew what their policies were, other than some vague notion that they were against Europe, whatever that is. Because if they're not getting any of your money, then that rather suggests that people don't like them very much, don't it? Or am I hallucinating? Or both? 0845 6060 973, text 84850, email nica@lbc.co.uk, and Twitch tweet @LBC973. This is Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
97.3. Call 0845 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC 973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
Making a radio show again. 0845 6060 973. This is Nick Abbott. What have you found out about our friend Dimitri? Nothing.
Well, no, I mean, he just what you've said. I mean,
Right.
Here's a photo of him. I think he could do the bit of...
Well, he looks like an attractive fellow, like a swarthy Greek rich person. Would you wear skirts for him?
Would I wear skirts for him?
I'll take that as a no. Hey, is it MI5 or MI6 the one that looks into spooks in foreign places? Which organisation would be investigating Litvinenko, or rather not investigating Litvinenko, because they received a call from Vladimir Putin, and he said, I'll kill you all if you investigate it 1 inch further. Or perhaps I just imagined that. Was it MI5 or MI6 is the foreign one? Any idea? Any idea at all?
MI5 is the...
No, you're just guessing. MI5 is the, Lady with a hand in the air.
It's the one at home, MI5.
MI5 is the one at home?
Yeah.
How'd you know that? Which is the one with that silly building on, right next to St George's Wharf, opposite the Tate?
Yeah, that's MI5.
You don't know that.
I do.
MI5 is about... Oh, Struth, here we go again. Can you believe it? And you pay your taxes, don't you? You're one of the little people, like me, dopes who pay taxes. And I bet you're wondering, what the hell do they do with all this money? Well, I've got it. In black and white, right here. They throw it away. MI5 has abandoned a multi-million-pound IT project, becoming the latest government organisation to fall casualty to such failed schemes. Over and over and over this happens. The government... we're run by dopes. We're being duped into being run by dopes. I buy a computer... and once in my life, I bought a computer and it didn't work. And it took about 6 months to send it back to the organisation that sold it to me. And by the end of which time, I was in the corner of a room howling like a dog. Like a dog! And I just couldn't stand it anymore, but finally they took it back. But the government doesn't seem to have any success in that regard. They buy these systems, they don't work, and they still pay for them. The new digital records management system for MI5, Digital Records Management System, was originally due to be in place in time for last year's Olympics to deal with the increased terrorism threat, at which nothing happened. Despite them putting rocket launchers on top of blocks of flats. Am I the only person who thought that was a little bit over the top? Apparently not. A team of expensive consultants from Deloitte they were delighted to get that phone call. I bet they were due to be brought in to help with the system, which was supposed to integrate intelligence data and analysis from all government departments who inform MI5. But in 2011, the security service told MPs that there would be a temporary delay. And now it's understood that the project may have been temporarily delayed forever. They may abandon it completely. Sources said that the decision made by the recently departed head of MI5, Sir Jonathan Evans, will cost the taxpayers, are you ready? £90 million. I spent £500 on a computer that didn't work. The government has spent £90 million on a computer that doesn't work. And they didn't even get a free mouse. And if they say 90... well, of course, a spokesman for the Home Office, which has responsibility for MI5, would not comment on the project's demise, other than to say, we don't recognise the £90 million figure. Which could, of course, mean that it's much more than that, or just that they don't understand big numbers. Let's go with the latter, shall we? Oh, we don't recognise that figure. What is that figure written down there? All those zeros. We don't understand what that is. As the global security threats increase, the MI5's old system was regarded as out-of-date and ill-equipped. I think it constitutes people telling each other information and they have to remember it. Oh, I've written it down on a piece of paper here somewhere. But the trials of this new system, which was designed to search digital and paper records, were put on hold over fears that if it failed, it could create an intelligence vacuum. In space, no one can hear you laugh. And this intelligence vacuum could leave spies vulnerable. That is what they said. I am stunned. The then Director General told MPs that the temporary delay was acceptable as the new system was not urgently needed. What? So all terrorists are hereby asked to suspend their evil plans until the new system is fully operational. We don't need it straight away. We don't know that there are any threats because our computer doesn't work, but we're just going on the assumption that there aren't. Any questions? British intelligence. Now, if there's an oxymoron, and emphasis on the last two syllables on the, and British intelligence should always be pronounced British intelligence. A 2011 Security Committee report said, and I quote, that is what it said. The security report said, It actually said the security service's new electronic information management system is intended to modernise and enhance the service's information management capability and provide a greater level of informational assurance and mitigate the risks of intelligence failure and information loss. Did you get that?
No.
You need an information service to figure out what that means. That's just a lot of words strung together. It doesn't mean anything. Sounds like management speak to me. Shall I go over that again? Would you like to rehear that? The Security Service's new electronic information management system is intended to modernise and enhance the service's information management capability and provide a greater level of informational assurance and mitigate the risks of intelligence failure and information loss.
What?
No, I still don't get it. Can we feed that through a computer? Oh, sorry, computer doesn't work. It's understood that earlier this year, MI5 had decided to admit failure and restart with a new generation of IT specialists.
Oh, fabulous.
Right, there's another £90 million we might as well set fire to. I am stunned. I'm sure this new generation of IT specialists will be efficient, productive, and deliver an excellent system, unlike every other computer experts who have sold the government something that doesn't work at massive costs. But this new lot, oh, they're experts. Nothing to worry about or see here. Please move along. And then... And I could pull an example, any example really, of any government department that's ever bought a computer. None of them work. Do you remember the chaos when they tried to organise everybody's medical records? I think that's still going on. How much does that cost us so far? If they say it's 100 million, then it's probably 500 million. If they say it's 500 million, then it'll be $1 billion. Speaking of which, a debt-ridden hospital trust that plans to axe 750 jobs is spending more than £25,000 a month on one computer expert. 25 grand a month. An American IT expert. Rotherham Hospital Trust paid £40 million. I've given up being appalled, and I've decided to be amused. Rotherham Hospital Trust paid around £40 million for a computer system that has never worked. I wonder if they tried to turn it off and on again. They spent £40 million for a computer system that has never worked. I'd put it back in the box and send it back to the shop. In a bid to repair the failing system, the Trust is paying £25,000 a month, plus hotel bills and airfares, to US IT expert Larry, who has even advised the White House. That pillar of efficiency and computer know-how, whose last resident was a chimp.
Absolutely.
Staff at the Crisis Hit Trust are furious that taxpayers are picking up the bill for airline tickets, laundry and restaurant bills. Flight tickets cost $4,000 when Larry flew in from the US for a 3-month initial period. His basic expenses over a 6-week period at Sheffield's Hilton Hotel came to £2,300 for accommodation, laundry, taxis to work, meals and non-alcoholic beverages. And you know what the most stunning thing about that is? Sheffield has a Hilton Hotel. You believe that? Why? Why would anybody in their right frame of mind want to go to stay in a hotel in Sheffield? No offence, but I'm just asking. Do they have a tiki bar in the basement? Hospital chiefs have told staff that the electronic patient record system is being retained despite ongoing problems. Well, they can't afford to buy another computer system that won't work, so they're stuck with the current one that doesn't work. The failing IT system caused chaos when it lost 5,000 outpatient appointments in a black hole, which cost the hospital £1.6 million and had patients turning up at the wrong times for appointments that doctors knew nothing about. Well, that sounds like the NHS. Yeah. They didn't need a £40 million computer system to do that. The Hospital Trust has also admitted that 3 other consultants, Michael, the Trust's interim chief executive, barrister and accountant, Tim, who was leading the financial recovery, and Joshua in a supporting role, are costing £92,000 a month. I think they should stop hiring people to lead the financial recovery. They can't afford it. Is there a single person running this country that has any idea what they're doing?
No.
I'm just asking. I'm curious. I am mystified. You can call me Mr. Fide. That does sound like the NHS, though, doesn't it? Patients turning up at the wrong times for appointments that doctors knew nothing about. Last October, this hospital told staff that more than 750 jobs would go and wards would close in a bid to save cash. Since then, job cuts have still not been made. It's business as usual with the NHS. It's the envy of the world. The envy of Europe. The envy of Estonia. Oh, I got that one right. 0845 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk, but just don't try it on a government computer. We may never get it. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC973. This is Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3. The time, 10:30.
With Nick Abbott.
I am not one of your fans!
Hey, feel like you've been ripped off lately?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Like constantly, with practically everything that I buy. Now, I don't like saying I told you so, but I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. Britain's trading watchdog came under fire after finding no evidence, zero, not a shred, that petrol price fixing was being carried out. This is months before the launch this week of a European probe into the oil industry. The Office of Fair Trading, Britain's trading watchdog. Britain's useless, toothless trading watchdog. were accused of in the Commons of carrying out, and this is a quote, a limp-wristed and lettuce-like inquiry into road fuel prices. It was so limp-wristed, it'll get its own Channel 4 chat show. Labour warned it would face serious questions if the European Commission now found evidence of price rigging. Serious questions. Well, when they looked into this at the time, I mean, I've been... you only need to drive a car and to pay attention to fuel prices to realise that there seems to be, or to get the impression that there appears to be collusion on the part of the people that are selling it. Because it's all the same blooming price. It's not just more or less the same price. It's exactly the same price at the tenth of a penny. Britain's trading watchdog, the Office of Fair Trading, looked into oil price fixing and said, nothing to see here, please move along. They did this on our behalf. Thank you so much. And for all you people that bang on about how dreadful Europe is, it's Europe that's looking into this now, not Britain. Britain looked into it and saw nothing wrong, nothing that they disagreed with. And now the EU, as Gawley used to say, they're looking into it on our behalf. And on our behalf, I'd like to say thank you to the EU. Not for everything, but for this. BP and Shell are being investigated over price fixing. No! Norwegian company Statoil also confirmed that its office in Stavanger was inspected by European officials, not British officials, or Norwegian officials, EU officials, working on our behalf. Conservative backbencher Robert Halfon stressed it would be a national scandal and called for the law to be changed so... you'll love this part. Maybe, what a sense of humour. He said the law should be changed so culprits could be jailed. Maybe he didn't get the memo. Crooked management of giant multinationals don't get sent to jail in this country. They get sent to the House of Lords.
Affirmative.
Energy Secretary Ed Davey defended the Office of Fair Trading as a strong watchdog. Yes. He warned the full force of the law would be thrown against any oil firms found to have rigged prices, but stressed the claims were as yet unproven. And they are. The most that will happen is that they'll get a fine, if found guilty, that seem like a large number to us, but will be chicken feed to the oil companies, and will be a tiny fraction of the money they made if they were conning us all along. And that's always the case. A bank will be ripping off its customers for decades, and they will make billions and billions and billions of pounds, and the fine will be £100 million or £200 million, which sounds like a lot of money, but is a microscopic amount compared to the amount that they got by doing the conning in the first place. It's a win-win. If they don't get caught, then they just keep all the money, and if they do get caught, then they receive a fine, which won't affect them in any way, and they just carry on regardless. The OFT said it had received no credible evidence of price rigging, despite doing a full and thorough investigation, despite looking at the issue at length, despite asking the oil companies if they were guilty. Yeah, and they said no. And they said, right you are, Governor. It's speculators, traders and shady middlemen looking for a quick profit what are driving up fuel prices. And these traders have caused 3 steep rises in the price in the last year alone. This is what the AA say. They've added £5 to the cost of filling up a family saloon and unfairly hammered Britain's 33 million motorists, 32 million of which shouldn't be driving, can't drive, don't know where the indicators are, and definitely cannot park. When you get into your car and you head out on the road, just assume, and this is the best advice you'll ever get, just assume that everybody else on the road is an idiot. As the you won't be far wrong. As the scandal of alleged price fixing by major oil companies deepens, the AA said that greed on the part of speculators risks destroying the consumer market and hampering the UK economy. Pretty much everything we consume in any way is bought and traded. What the hell is that? Bought and traded by speculators. Like chocolate, for instance. So expensive. Two of Britain's biggest companies, Shell and BP, raided earlier this week on suspicion of distorting the oil price since 2002. Not just a little while, since 2002, meaning drivers have potentially been ripped off for more than 10 years. Experts believe the price fixing has cheated the average motorist of at least £2,000. I want my money back. But alongside the investigations into price fixing, watchdogs should also shine a bright light on speculators chasing inflated short-term profit, the AA said. That's like my phrase du jour. Has been for, did I just say du jour? Of the day. Has been for a long time. Short-termism is what will do for humankind. Motorists could expect more fluctuations in the coming months due to speculators whose actions determine the price at the pump, they believe, echoing warnings by the International Energy Agency this week. Not the British Energy Agency, should there be such a thing, the International Energy Agency. AA spokesman Luke said, the EU and competition watchdogs should shine a bright light on the spivs, shady middlemen, and speculators driving up prices by operating in the shadows of oil giants like BP and Shell. They're just the tip of the iceberg. That is what he said. You know, this is the EU coming to our rescue, because the UK authorities looked into the pricing of petrol and apparently found nothing that they disliked. Working hard on our behalf, the Office of Fair Trading.
Yeah.
AA Head of Public Affairs Paul said that the latest swing in petrol prices, up 8 to 10p a litre, is the third price shock in 12 months, increasing the cost of filling a typical fuel tank from 66 quid to £71. Now, in the great scheme of things, that might not sound like very much, but it doesn't. You don't have to have a long memory to remember when people were freaking out that it went above £1. It used to be in the pennies. Now it's £1 and change for a litre. The AA called for more transparency on trades, which are reported daily in the markets, and Tory MP Robert Halfon has called for a full inquiry into petrol prices. Well, they had one already, and they said, and I quote, "Nothing to see here, please move along." The Serious Fraud Office said it would make a decision on whether to carry out a full investigation within days. And within days is about how long it will take them to pronounce that everyone concerned is innocent of all charges.
Correct.
I don't doubt it for a second. Meanwhile, here's a call in Chertsey. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Nick. I just said to Amanda, soon I haven't got a show of my own, which isn't what I said to her, but I've got an idea for your show.
Yes?
I thought, as you introduced the subject, it's interesting, I thought you could start the great trousers debate, and I said I could kick it off by saying that it might surprise some people, but when I started work at my very first job, I went to an agency, and they sent me back to this town for an interview, and I was wearing trousers, which were then called ski pants. They were quite clingy, had a strap on the foot. They weren't clingy as leggings, but they were called that. And I had a smart coat with them. However, I duly turned up for the interview, and yes, I said I apologised. And, you know, the lady interviewing me, quite a fierce lady, she said, "Oh, yes, I'd send you home immediately if you turned up in trousers."
Why?
No.
What kind of work was it?
Office. It was office, general office work.
What does it matter what you cover your...
It was my first start in office work.
What does it matter what you cover your legs with?
Well, in those days, it wasn't, I mean, in those days, everyone, Amanda was suggesting 80s, and I said, no, earlier. I said, that'll blow my allure now, but I admit to, it's supposed to be a decade that's fairly swinging then, you know, things, but in those days, yes, it wouldn't be considered, and I said it would interest people now. Most of anybody younger than that wouldn't realise that, you know, a smart trouser suit would be de-rigueur, but in those days, as I said, she literally said, I would send you straight home if you turned up in those, so I thought that might surprise some people.
Well, what's surprising me is that the 1980s are now referred to as in those days.
But it wasn't the 80s, it was... Amanda was just being kind. She said, what decade was that? Was it the 80s? I said, no, it was before that. As the word swinging comes to mind, you know.
Right, well, okay.
But I think if you had a debate, you'd find a lot of men were not in favour of trousers, and a lot of women are.
Right. Well, it sounds like something that you would hear on the radio. I'm just not sure if you're going to hear it on this show. But best of luck. Thanks very much, Sandra. Cheers, my dear. 0845 6060 973. Well, she was trying. I can't see that going anywhere. Can you see that going anywhere?
What, the debate?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Not really,
And
no.
I thought it was the 80s because she said ski pants.
Yeah.
And they used to wear those in the 80s.
Well, I wore ski pants.
Why did you just say
Because I
that
was
to me?
skiing. Salopettes.
Same to you.
What are salops? Because salopettes must be small salops.
What are salopettes? Are they ski pants?
Yeah, aren't they ski pants? The ones with the little hook that goes under your feet to keep them... I
Stop
don't
them
know.
from riding up in your ski
Yeah, I
boots.
suppose to stop them from riding up in your ski boots is completely right.
Correct.
Maybe salopettes... Maybe a salop is an all-in-one. So it would just it wouldn't stop at the waist. it would
Wow,
just
the look
continue
on your
all the way
face
up.
is as though you've just been touched with genius. Just for a moment there, you surprised yourself. I bet that's not true. Well, we'll find out. Hey, 0845 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
At B&Q, the 973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello.
Now, Ken Livingstone and David Mellor will be on LBC from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. They'll be discussing the big political stories of the past 7 days, along with your calls. And on tomorrow's show, after another week, where the Tories have attempted to tear themselves apart over Europe, they'll be asking if the possibility of leaving the EU could give the party a unique selling point that could transform their chances in the polls. And as a report claims £200 million could be saved if fire and rescue services were made more efficient, they'll be speaking to the General Secretary of the Fire Brigade Union to get his reaction to the controversial news. I don't know what his reaction will be, but in my mind I'm guessing... more efficient? What does that mean? Fewer people will do more work. Is that what that means? So this is all with Ken Livingstone, and David Mellor from 10 Saturday morning, LBC 97.3. Let's go with a call in North Finchley. Ali.
Yes, hello.
Ali, how you going?
Yeah, good on you, thanks.
So, what's up?
Yeah, basically I wanted to, bring up the topic about compensation with the oil companies and if you believe the past, if they are found liable for compensation.
Yeah.
And, do you think people will be able to compensate? I know you said that, you left people out of pocket by almost £2,000 and, it would be an interesting topic that if there was available, all these claims could possibly flow in.
Yeah, first of all, I seriously doubt that an organisation as major as an oil company is going to have any judgment go against them. Second, you'd have to have kept all of your receipts if they are found guilty. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that is a good point. But
I mean, honestly, if you had to choose between two options, A, everybody that had been overcharged would get all their money back, or B, nothing will happen, which would you choose? Which would you put your money on?
yeah, probably the nothing will happen.
Yeah, the nothing will happen part, yeah.
Yeah, but it is just a catastrophe. I mean, also another interesting, you've got these other oil companies that are also selling oil. I mean, I wonder if they were also involved or complicit in some way or another, or they just followed the trend of immorally following these other oil companies.
Well, they're all in it together. I mean, we're all in it together.
Indeed.
All right, thanks a lot, Ali. Keep cheery. 0845 6060 973. Nothing is going to happen. Speculators, traders, shady middlemen looking for a quick profit are driving up fuel prices. This is what the AA are saying. Two of Britain's biggest companies, Shell and BP, raided earlier this week on suspicion of distorting the oil price since 2002, meaning drivers have potentially been ripped off for more than 10 years, to the tune of about $2,000 each. But it's okay, it's only money. Croydon, hello, Sasha.
Hello there.
Sasha, hello there.
Yes,
I want to talk to you about how we're wasting money on waste in this country at the moment, and specifically actually in South London.
Waste?
Yes. Waste really ultimately can be a resource if you recycle waste or reuse it. But here in South London, in Sutton on Wednesday, the council approved the building of a incinerator to burn the waste to create energy, but they'll be burning recyclables over a 25-year period. And in actual fact, the market for waste has changed quite considerably since 2011. Recyclables are actually great value now to councils, and on average, since 2011, contracts signed by councils are actually receiving £26 per tonne of waste they send to what are known as material recovery facilities that takes all this waste and then pre-sorts it, takes out all the recyclables.
And then they burn them?
They're going to burn them now. The thing is
but what... They're taking... When you say recyclables, you mean something that can be recycled into something else?
That's right.
Why are they burning it?
Because these contracts are written by people who are in the private sector, i.e. working for waste contractors, and then they come in, they're hired as consultants by councils to write what are known as waste plans. So we have a South London waste plan. And the South London Waste Plan allows incineration, and it's been a long process going since 2008. And the idea is from the start has been you've got to try and, well, the waste contractors want to be able to get the most money from it, and the highest revenue, the most revenue they can get is actually to burn the waste, to create electricity from the waste, which sounds good on the surface, but actually over a 25-year period, these waste companies are going to make a hell of a lot of money from actually burning recyclables. To give you, if I can just break it down for you.
How do you know all this?
Because I'm the secretary of the Stop the Incinerator campaign in South London, and I'm also in the Green Party, which advocates a zero waste strategy. Now in Scotland, they have a zero waste strategy where they actually, any contractor that wants to bid for waste, because the reason why we have to do this actually is a good reason, in that we have to move from sending waste to landfill.
Yeah, I thought they did that people separated their waste into 86 different buckets, and then the council came along and threw it all into a big hole.
That's right. That's what we would, thought they were doing that, I guess, yes. But,
or, worse, they put it on a boat and sent it to China.
Well, that's the other alternative, obviously.
So now they've decided to, after people spend 6 hours a day separating all their rubbish in microscopic amounts, then they send it to be burnt.
Not that waste, really. It's the waste that we put into a black bin bag, but there's a lot of recyclables that we end up putting in our black bin bags as well.
Like what? What are we talking about?
I mean, it could be like, there's a lot of plastics which can actually be recycled. 90% of all waste can be recycled.
Yeah, they're not burning plastic, are they? Because that's the last thing that the good people of Sutton and Croydon need is the pall of burning plastic.
Because the dioxins come out of there, and then there's plenty of research which is showing that dioxins, because they're burning these in high-temperature incinerators, and then these are producing ultrafine particles.
Well, you don't need research to tell you that burning plastic's not a great idea. Please don't inhale burning plastic fume. If anybody has ever been to Glastonbury, which is in a dip, it's kind of like Glastonbury's in a sort of like a bowl. And have you ever been to Glastonbury, Sasha?
I have, yeah.
Well, you'll have experienced this as I have. Idiots at Glastonbury start bonfires with plastic plates, with paper plates, but paper plates are covered in plastic, and then they fuel the fires with anything they can get hold of, which usually amounts to bits of plastic, stuff that holds beer cans together and all of that. And so that on a calm night in Glastonbury, it's quite groovy to look at, but not great to smell. No. You are standing or sitting in a poisonous cloud of plastic burning fumes.
You got it in one?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's got a pungent smell, then you know it's not... I made a mistake recently. I switched the grill on when we were on a holiday cottage, and I didn't realise the grill with its plastic sort of handle was in there, and then it was burning, and suddenly the smell came out, and oh my God. And now that I know about these things, I've read a lot how dioxins, if they get into you, you know, especially... You know, they can cause cancers and so on. So,
well, maybe that's the reason that property prices are so low in Croydon, is because of the pall of burning plastic fumes.
Yeah, they will be. But, you know, if they tried to build such a thing in Wimbledon Village, they wouldn't have had a chance.
No.
You know, they'd get £1 million lawsuit against them. But because, you know, where we live in North Croydon...
Yeah, nobody cares about people in Croydon.
Unfortunately not, no. We just, that's why we have riots over here. People have got no sort of connection with a stake in society, as they say, so they just burn.
So what happened to the Green Party in the last election? Because you did particularly well, almost as well as UKIP did last time around, the last general election. The Green Party did great things, and you know, a massive step forward, and since then, not much. What happened?
Well... it doesn't help that there's an abundance of right-wing media in this country, and they've managed to, for example, poo-poo climate change quite considerably. A lot of UKIP supporters, you know, don't believe. Well, you know, Nigel Farage says it's all poppycock, let's say, and you know, it's difficult because our agenda, you know, is about showing there's an alternative to maybe a cuts program to really target the 100-odd billion pound that's evaded and avoided through tax avoidance and some schemes such as, you know...
Such as we've been reading about on a constant basis, yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's just, it goes, you know, it's difficult to get our message out there.
Well,
really.
Is there a certain despondency in your ranks?
I don't think so. We just grow ever so slowly sometimes, but where we're doing well, obviously, is in places like in Brighton, where we're leading party on the council. We've got an MP, which is one more than that UKIP have got at the moment, and it's just, you know, we need proportional representation in this country, Nick, and then would have a fair outcomes, and votes would actually mean a lot more.
Well, if it was if for the next general election we were invited to rank parties in order of evilness, you'd probably win. By which I don't mean that you would be the most evil. That's a compliment.
Thank you.
All right, well, the best of luck, Sasha. Keep on keeping on. Cheers, mate. 0845 6060 973. Well, that is surely comes as no surprise to anybody at all. You sort your rubbish into 36 different bins of varying hue, and then they collect it all and diligently resort it and then burn it all. Great. Just as you suspected. 0845 6060 973, text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at lbc973. Speaking of global warming, by the way, there was somebody speaking out on that subject, and I'll come to that in a little while, and we'll get a long-range weather forecast too. We'll see what misery we have to look forward to. Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
The whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, I thought that was is a little too perfect to be anything other than a publicity stunt, but apparently not. Well, here's a question. Why would you keep $500,000 worth or $1 million worth or however much it was, all of those exquisite diamonds and jewellery? Why would you keep it in a room safe in a Novotel? I mean, no offence to Novotel. I'm sure that they have an excellent product. But if I had that much sparklers, I'd think I'd put them in the hotel safe rather than that tiny little thing that they keep in the wardrobe that you can always open just by figuring out what the person's birth date is. I am stunned. Maybe they want to rethink their security procedures, if they have any. 0845 6060 973. That was funny. I mean, it wasn't particularly funny, but it was amusing. It seems that everything that Nigel Farage does, from having a drink to smoking a fag to taking a plane ride, everything ends in amusement. They called him fascist scum, and he replied, "You're Nazi scum." That is the level of political debate that we've got right now. And there was a picture of this happening. You maybe saw it on the TV. There are still pictures available in a newspaper near you. And the fellow at the front, I don't know, to be heckled by somebody who looked like this, I wouldn't be that bothered. Some man who had, he's kind of like a man-boy who was wearing a luminous purple shirt and a waistcoat that was made for a thin person, not somebody of his stature, squeezed into a pair of jeans that didn't come in his size, and he was wearing a belt with a Batman buckle on it. I wouldn't be that bothered if that man called me Nazi scum. I would find it amusing. There wasn't hatred. It was almost like a student prank. There was, 6 of them there? That's not a representation of Scottish people. That was a representation of those people. Looked like a student prank to me, or like high jinks, or whatever you want to call it. It is idiocy. You're fascist scum. He says, well, you're Nazi scum. Stanmore. Hello, John.
Hello.
John.
You were talking about oil price fixing before.
Yeah.
And I thought this might interest you. I've been on a 500,000-ton tanker coming from Iran back to UK, doing 7 knots. That means anything to you? About 150 miles a day.
Yeah.
And the reason we were going so slowly was because they were waiting for the oil price to go up in Europe.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, it was even worse because going all the way up the west coast of Africa, there was a convoy of these ships.
Really?
Massive great tankers with millions and millions of litres of fuel.
Yeah.
Just waiting for it to go up.
Well, that makes sense, really. I mean, if a 1p rise per litre of fuel would you spread it over all of the amount of fuel that one of those things takes, that's worth a delay, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think people don't realise just how easy it is to manipulate the prices.
Well, they weren't manipulating the prices. They were just waiting until the prices were manipulated. Or are you suggesting that the people who owned the oil on the boats was doing the manipulating?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't know that, though. That's a guess, though, right?
Well,
yes.
A long time ago, far away, thank God.
What's life like on one of those things? Because they're so huge. It's like, it's as big as a hamlet, at least. How many people are on those?
Well, when I was there were about 40, but to give you some idea, from the main deck up to the bridge is 10 decks, right? And
yeah, what's on those decks? I mean, what's actually on one of those boats?
What's on them?
Yeah.
Well, they're just a great load of oil tanks.
Well, yeah, I know, but you say 10, it's 10 decks. What's on those decks?
Well, accommodation, cabins.
Yeah.
We had gymnasium, swimming pool.
A swimming pool?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Water everywhere, but not a drop to swim in.
Oh, we had a very nice swimming pool, actually.
I find that really surprising. What, was an open air or indoor?
Open air. But
you had an open-air swimming pool on an oil tanker?
Yeah.
I'm borderline not believing you.
Well, also, in those days, we had films on board as well.
Yeah.
We had TVs, but you wouldn't get anything out there.
Right. Well, you get Iranian TV.
Boring!
I couldn't imagine it.
That's the sort of thing you want.
Yeah. Films, yeah, of course, just to make the time go by.
Well, it was lovely, because when you got to Iran, you go to Karg Island, which is a delightful place.
Is it?
It was an oil terminal, a prison camp, and an army base.
Wow, so that's where I'm spending my next holiday.
Oh, it's fabulous. 24 hours there, loading up.
That's where I'm sending you, Amanda, unless you shape up and start wearing skirts.
Start wearing skirts, yeah.
No, it was a wonderful place, really was.
Yes.
You can imagine. And, anyway, that's about it. I just thought you'd like to know that. Those ships are big. From the main deck, I didn't get to you, to the bottom of the engine room's another 10 decks down. So you've actually got 20 decks, or 20 floors, if you want to put it that way.
And
you can imagine.
there was no pirate problem in the period that you're talking about, was there?
No.
Right.
We used to have lift problems.
Lift problems?
Yes, because we had lifts going up and down, of course.
It sounds like the sort of thing that a horror movie would be based on. There'd be something like untoward, some sort of like shady figure loose in that place somewhere, and it was picking off the crew one by one. Did you have anything like that?
It was wild out there. I mean, I felt like throwing the chief engineer over the side 3 or 4 times, and quite frankly, if you did it, no one could do anything about it.
Well, that's right.
There's no law at sea, amazingly.
There's no law at sea. There must be.
Yes, it comes under the Panamanian flag. That means the Panamanian are responsible for law at sea.
Oh, right. Well, I'm sure all you have to do is dial 999 and they'll be there instantly.
Absolutely.
Panama. I have got no idea what Panama is actually like, but I've decided to think the worst.
Well, I've spent time there, and I can tell you there are better places.
Why do ships register under a Panamanian flag? Because that's quite common, isn't it? Is it because they're lax with the rules and regulations?
Well, that's one reason, and also they pay very low tax.
Right. Another one of those.
Same with Liberian, and then you get Malta flag, Cyprus flag, and Greek flags are all virtually the same.
Right. Well, ain't that great?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much, John.
You're welcome.
Cheers for the inside scoop. Some texts and emails. On the subject of women wearing skirts, which we were talking about, gosh, it seems like so long ago, this says, hey, don't mail. What? Hey, don't mail Greek soldiers parade in skirts and shoes with pom-poms on, says Sue. Yes, they do. If you want to be amused, go and look it up on the World Wide Wait. I've talked about this before. I could not believe my eyes. I was in Greece one time, and I was in the embassy area, and then they came out in their skirts. They wear skirts, and get a picture up on the World Wide Wait there, Amanda. My memory is failing me. Meanwhile, I'll take this call here. Borough, hello, Bill.
Hello, Nick. How
Bill.
are you?
Great, mate.
I heard part of your show when you were mentioning about the oil.
Yeah.
Isn't it surprising that it's taken an EU commission to raid these oil companies?
Well,
to look on their books.
Yeah, I would like to say yes, it is surprising, but actually no, it isn't, because our own British Fair Trade Organisation, they looked into it and they could see nothing that they didn't like.
Of course. How convenient.
Yeah.
How convenient. There was a thing on one of our news channels yesterday about saying how BP was in trouble with all the claims that are happening with their oil spill, and they might go bankrupt.
No, they won't.
Yeah, but isn't that convenient to say they can't afford to pay back the money later on? You know,
they might go bankrupt. Oh, please. No, they won't. Hey, you know, by the way, the genius Tony Hayward, he's the fellow that used to run the BP before they squirted all their oil all over America. He's doing fantastically well. He's just got a new job with, is it Glencore Extrata? Some massive organisation. He's doing really well, thanks for asking.
Isn't that something to do with GM or something? God, can't they get involved in these things? Nick?
Yeah.
Another little side angle. You know we're still producing oil out of the North Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a while back when the prices of oil was going crazy, like a barrel of oil went up $100 in one day, and no one took any notice. I've always thought why we don't put a levy on the oil that's coming out of the North Sea to actually pay off our debts.
A levy?
Well, I don't know how much we charge the companies to take the oil out of the North Sea, but if we put an extra $5 a barrel on it, and there's billions of barrels presumably a week taken out of the North Sea, it'll help pay off our debt.
Yeah, but they would make our oil more expensive than anybody else's oil. And we the customer, would still pay for it.
No, I'm talking about the companies are charged, and then when it goes on the open market, it doesn't. It's Brent crude, which is actually, if you look on the market, it's sold separately. Brent crude is unique as opposed to crude oil, which is another market.
Yeah, but if we charge the companies, then the companies would just charge us.
Yeah, but I'm saying they also would be charging the open market, and $5 on a barrel, as opposed to when it was going up 13 in one day or $100. We didn't scream and shout. It didn't go up really that much at our pumps, but it's to get revenue from abroad, where we still sell the oil outside this country as well as in.
Right. Well, to me, it sounds like an excellent idea. Let's soak the companies that can afford it. But it'll always come down to, well, we can't do it because of the following mystifying reasons, the last of which is always that it's going to cost us personally the money, not the companies. They'll just pass the cost on to us, poor dopes.
That's always the way.
It was the same with the financial transaction tax that they're bellyaching about, and they're talking about this is going to cause the end of banking as we know it, and it will ruin all of your lives if you even consider it just for a second. It just sounds like a load of old hogwash. It's the super rich bellyaching that they have to pay any tax.
And then us poor individuals,
sods,
end up paying a lot.
Yeah, it's the little people, and I'm not talking about leprechauns. Only the little people pay tax. That's you and me, Bill.
Why don't we question these things? It's one thing that always gets me. When you get broadband, certain TV suppliers, you pay a line rental. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's roughly about $14.99 a month.
Too blooming much. Mm-hmm.
Right? When I moved round here 27 years ago, and the telephone exchange is only, 2 minutes walk from here, I know where the building is, I had a BT line that time where you paid one line rental every 3 months, and that was with the old mechanical switching system.
Yeah.
Now we have digital systems, and as far as I know, the cable is sitting there for 30 years at least. Why now do they persuade people to pay a line rental every month, where technology has advanced, you can virtually do away with it? But how did they persuade us to, instead of paying every quarter, we now pay monthly?
Well, what difference does it make whether you pay monthly or a quarter if the bill is the same? You're saying it's three times as much.
If I was paying one line rentals, let's say of $14.99 a quarter, which is 3 months, now you're paying $14.99 per month.
Yeah.
So now instead of paying one,
actually, come to think of it, that also sounds like the various organisations are colluding, because the price of line rental is also the same, no matter who you have broadband squirt up your house.
And why don't we question it? Because I know one cable provider doesn't use separate telephone lines, but they charge a line rental.
Well, the reason we don't question for two reasons. First of all, if we question it, what difference will it make? Unless the EU steps in, our lot aren't going to do anything about it. It needs an outside organisation to take a peek, because this country's authorities don't appear remotely interested in fair trading. Anyway, Bill, and the other reason that we don't ask is because, there's X Factor on at the weekend, and then there's The Voice, and then there's all that other TV that we've got to catch up with, and then we bellyache about the price of beer, and, there's a lot of other things that we have on our plate. Plate. 0845 6060 973. There are Greek guards. There's a picture of them there. Look. This is Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
LBC is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
Yeah? Fellow with the funny ears, whatever happened to him? Leader of the Labour Party. 0845 6060 973. How can you have gone through life and never seen an episode of Star Trek? I mean, the films are, what's the word I'm looking for? The films are, really, unless they're advertising with us, in which case it's an excellent movie and everyone should see it. But, the old ones were really dull, and the first one of the new ones was just excruciating. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. You would agree with that, wouldn't you, Amanda?
I didn't watch it, because I thought I'd find it boring, so...
Well, why are you screwing up your face like that if you didn't watch it?
Well, because I have no interest in it.
But it could have been great. It could have been right up your alley.
Wouldn't have been up my alley.
Halley?
I didn't say that.
It sounded like you said Halley. It's not a comet. It's a right of way.
What is?
An alley.
Okay.
Not Halley.
I didn't say Halley.
Catherine Hepburn caused a scandal by wearing trousers in the 40s, says this message. Ski pants were in fashion in the 60s. An office I worked in did not allow women to wear trousers until the late 70s. This whole women wearing trousers issue will not die. This one says, your caller was quite right. Women in trousers weren't allowed into lots of places in the 60s. Hotels, restaurants, and even the theatre. Hard to believe now, innit? It is. I mean, the things that people used to fulminate against, they would say that this is the end of civilization as we know it. If you'd told them then that gays would be able to get married, their heads would have exploded. Oh, no, wait, that's right, that's happening now. People are going. That's what they're concentrating on. Mad. I mean, it's mad that they're concentrating on making a gay marriage an issue, but it's also mad that they're concentrating on making a gay marriage, like fighting against it. The whole world's gone completely insane. Have you noticed? This one says, hi Nick, I just wanted to say that my economics exam today was about oil prices. I just wanted to thank you for your insight on the government and current affairs as a whole, says Gabriel. Don't listen to me, Gabriel. I don't know what I'm talking about. On that or any other issue. He wants to thank me for my insight on the government and current affairs as a whole. Well, here's the news. Current affairs is a whole. Here's a call in Romford. Hello, Metim. Did I get that right?
That's correct, yeah.
So, Metim.
Hello.
Hello.
I really enjoy your program, Nick.
Thanks very much.
And I mean, I was just wondering, why do we always buying oil with the American dollars controlling, Why not English pound sterling or, I don't know, just like euro or anything like that?
Bitcoins or chickens.
Or something like that, or gold or something like that. Why are we buying American dollars?
Why is oil sold in American dollars?
Why? What's the reason?
Well, I don't know, maybe, but I think they just decided that that's what it's traded in. I mean, it's like...
But who decided, because...
Was it a bloke called Dave?
Because the oil not coming out from America, whole oil, coming from, all them, Middle East and Saudi Arabia and, I don't know, God knows where. And, most of them coming out from the, that kind of country.
Yeah. It seems to be concentrated in unpleasant places. North Sea, Saudi Arabia,
Whatever, something like that, why we're not buying like a Turkish lira or, I don't know, like a Russian, I don't know.
I think you can buy it with whatever kind of money you want. You could trade sexual favours for it if you like, but I think it's quoted in dollars. That's all.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. This is my reason of the why I'm calling tonight. Why they start centralising with the American dollars.
Right. Because that's the world's currency.
Why was not English pound sterling then?
Well, because we're a tiny, insignificant island off the coast of Europe. That's why. America, at the moment, has the biggest economy in the world.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they're number one.
We're giving big part of cake to America.
They're number one, we're number twos.
Okay, then.
Thanks a lot, Metin. There's another satisfied customer. I really am explaining stuff excellently on this show so far, eh?
No.
No, not really, no. This show's like an education, ain't it? 0845 6060 973. Let's have a call in Banstead. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello, Nick.
Charlotte.
Hello. About the oil companies, I heard that apparently they're going to start drilling for oil in the Arctic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're going to ruin that part of the world as well, aren't we?
Well, only
we ruin everything else, don't we?
Only polar bears and penguins live there.
Yeah, I'm really worried about the polar bears.
Well, the thing with polar bears is they can swim a really long way. Get David Attenborough on the phone. It's miles and miles and miles. They can swim 50 miles, but unfortunately they can only hunt when they're on ice.
Yeah, but if global warming doesn't ruin the Arctic, then the oil companies will.
Right, well, at least we've got a backup.
I mean, the polar bears just can't swim everywhere, can they, without the ice?
No, well,
they can't.
Yeah, they can swim, they just can't hunt. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Poor little... Did anybody ever consider the seals? Poor little seals.
Oh, yeah, the seals as well.
Because the seals have to come up for... The polar bears need ice, because seals have to come up for air in holes, and polar bears hang out near holes and grab the poor little seals by the face when they pop up out of the water.
Can't we have a campaign to stop your companies drilling for oil up there?
OK, well, you start a march. You start a march, and I'll fall in behind you. How does that sound?
OK, Nick,
All right, I'll meet you down the embankment, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Be there bright and early. Well, early, anyway. 0845 6060 973. So somebody spoke out about global warming today. An expert spoke out about it. And you'll be delighted to know that we're doomed. I'll come to that in just a minute. 0845 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at lbc973. This is Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3. The time, 11:30.
This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
How may I help you?
So, suggestions that global warming has stalled. Now, you would think if you live in this country that global warming has in fact stalled, that it is not warming up fast enough. It was blooming freezing today. I tried to put the heating on the other day, and it did not work. Maybe it had packed up, thinking that it wouldn't be required for another 8 months. Wrong. So I had to get a man in. I can't believe that it's coming towards the end of May, and I was actually freezing cold. I took a disco nap today, Amanda, and I had to get into bed with all of my clothes on.
Really? Even your socks?
I look fantastic with all of my clothes on.
I can verify that.
I look great in trousers.
I think I look great in trousers too.
Suggestions that global warming has stalled are a diversionary tactic from deniers who want the public to be confused over climate change, according to the world's best-known climate scientist. Somebody called this show and said that Nigel Farage is a climate change denier. Is he? Professor James Hansen, who first alerted the world to climate change in 1988, said, "It is not true that the temperature has not changed in 2 decades. That is what deniers are saying. Since 1998, when the Niño climate phenomenon caused global temperatures to soar, the rate of increase in warming has slowed." Deniers are pointing to this, saying that, look, there's no problem here, please move along. Some sceptics are suggesting that climate change has stopped, or that the effect of rising carbon dioxide levels on climate is not as great as previously thought. That is what they are saying. And Professor Hansen said, oh, no, it's not. He said, in the last decade, it has warmed only 1/10 of a degree compared to 2/10 of a degree in the preceding decade. But that's just natural variability, he says. There's no reason to be surprised by that at all. People do grasp, if you're trying to prove something, then you can do it with statistics, whether or not they show what it is that you're trying to prove or not. All you have to do is to take a set of figures from the point at which it proves what you're trying to say. So if you were trying to say that the global warming is slowing down or it is not in effect, then you just take a set of statistics that, for a brief period, show that what you're saying is right. But you need to look at the whole picture. Professor Hansen said the focus by some on details was a smokescreen. Wow, does that sound like exactly what I just said? I finally got something right.
Correct.
He says this is a diversionary tactic. Our understanding of global warming and human-made climate change has not been affected at all, he said. It's because of the deniers of the science want the public to be confused. They raise these minor issues and then we forget about what the main story is. The main story is carbon dioxide is going up. And it's going to produce a climate change which is going to have dramatic effects if we don't begin to reduce our emissions. That is what Professor James Hansen, who first alerted the world to climate change in 1988, said. And he's not just some dope. He stepped down from a post that he's held for 50 years at NASA. So he's got to be some sort of genius. He said, our understanding is based on the Earth's history, not on climate models. And we have good data on how the Earth responded in the past when carbon dioxide changed. On May the 9th, a new study of lake sediments in a remote meteorite crater in Siberia showed that temperatures in the region were 8 centigrade higher than the last time that CO2 levels were as high as they are today. Last week, in fact, I was talking about this on the show this time last weekend. Atmospheric CO2 concentrations reached the milestone 400 parts per million for the first time in millions of years. We did that. That was us what did that. Unless you are a climate change denier, in which case you were, I don't know, what do you think? Nothing. I suspect that deniers are enticed to believe that none of this is happening because the people that are causing the problem don't want to do anything about it because it would affect their profits in the short term. Like I keep saying over and over again, short-termism is going to do for mankind. And this is probably or at least one of the ways in which it will do it. Nobody ever wants to play the long game because they don't benefit in the long term. This is one of the problems with the political process that we have. Democracy. Because the politicians that are running the country at any one time aren't going to be there for a long period of time, like 10 years, absolute top whack, even if they're brilliant, even if they are helping every single person in the country, you can only stand a politician for 10 years maximum, and then you just want rid of them. Whether it would affect you negatively or not, you just want them out. 10 years tops. And so all politicians know this. They've got 10 years at an absolute maximum to reap the benefits of their own policies. And if we're talking about something as long-term as climate change, well, it's going to have absolutely no effect in 10 years at all, because 10 years is the blink of an eye. It's like supertankers. The world is like a supertanker and cannot be turned around on a sixpence. It will take decades, if not centuries, before a positive effect is seen, by which time all of the politicians will be out of a job and raking it in as consultants to the finance industry. Last week, atmospheric CO2 concentrations reached the milestone 400 parts per million. And the last time that occurred, temperatures were 8 centigrade higher than they were last time. And never mind about polar bears having to swim for a long period of time before eating, we're all going to be afloat. Professor Hansen has in the past caused controversy with the statements including, and this is a quote, "Chief executive officers of fossil fuel companies should be tried for high crimes against humanity and nature," and asserted that coal-fired power stations are factories of death. That is what he said. Not really helping his case, but maybe he's got a point. CEOs of fossil fuel companies should be tried for high crimes against humanity and nature. Well, in their absence, let's try them and find them guilty of all charges. Just as long as they don't want a cigarette before we get to the executions, because that would increase CO2 particulates in the atmosphere. Wilston. Hello, David.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
Almost fell asleep there, Nick.
Yeah, just...
Right, was that a comment on what I just said?
No.
Because it sounded very much like like an attack. Did that sound like an attack to you, Amanda?
Well, I don't think he meant it as one. But
really?
Yeah, I mean, he was desperate to talk to you. He's called a couple of times.
But if you were just speaking and I said I almost fell asleep during that,
yeah,
how would you take that?
Yeah, but he meant that he was on hold for quite a long time. That's what he meant. I can understand how you take it, but that's what he meant. He was just waiting.
Am I being too sensitive?
A little bit. He just wanted to put his 2 pence in.
I'm a sensitive person.
I know. I'm well aware of that.
All right, David, second chance.
Yeah, sorry about that, Nick. I was just touching on the fuel situation. There's a number of garages in South London that seem to find it funny that they toggle their prices up and down depending on whether it's a Friday or a Sunday evening. Which is not cool, but I've noticed that it ranges from, up 8p, down 8p, and this sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah, which is not ideal. But one of the things I wanted to touch on also, why are you guys talking about the upcoming Bilderberg meeting in Watford in 2 weeks' time?
The Bilderberg meeting in Watford?
That's right, in 2 weeks' time.
There's no such thing.
Yes, there is.
Why would they go to Watford? People with the entire world at their disposal. They normally meet in a hollowed-out volcano in some canton in Switzerland. Why would they go to Watford? They don't even know that Watford exists.
It's going to happen, Nick. Believe it or not. If you want to go and check it.
I don't believe it. Why would they choose Watford?
Covering it, but yeah, I just thought I might put that your way.
Right, okay, thanks a lot, David. 0845 6060 973. The Bilderberg Group are going, the shady cabal of evil geniuses who actually run the world, not our elected politicians. Shady people who work in shadows, who have carved up the world for their own nefarious ends. The Bilderberg Group. These people are going to meet in Watford? There's no way. They don't even know that Watford exists. Some texts and emails. And garages don't put their prices up and down by 8p over the course of a day. They don't toggle them up and down by that amount. Like fractions of a penny. I mean, there's just no way, because you don't want to be 8 pence more than your nearest competitor, because no one would buy petrol from you. Now, there is a station near me that is always about a penny more expensive than everywhere else, which gives you like a warm, gooey feeling inside when you shop somewhere else, because you think, wow, I've really saved money here.
Negative.
A tiny amount you've saved. And supermarkets are enticing you in, saying, well, we'll save you 5p off a litre of petrol. And you think, wow, that's actually not bad. And so you go into the supermarket and you spend £86,000 on a small basket of groceries in order to save 5p off a litre of petrol. And even if you fill up a super tanker, you've only saved £3.50, which is just about enough to buy yourself a Sunday newspaper and a packet of chews. Some texts and emails. All currencies are backed by absolutely nothing, says this one. That's why they will keep printing the worthless stuff to keep us afloat. But the collapse is coming. Well, it can't come a moment too soon. Speaking as somebody who doesn't have any money, I can't wait. The oil companies know that their precious, filthy product will run out in 40 years, so they want to maximise the profit, out their corrupt game while they can. Maximise the profit of their corrupt game while they can, perhaps. Yeah, well, this is why the sandy areas are buying up, everything. The third world is buying up, has put a firm down payment on the first world, and they'll be co-opting the second world before you know it. Their oil is running out, and so they bought, London. They said, nice town, we'll take it. What else we got? It's now called climate change, and we have seen seasons altering. Well, they stopped calling it global warming because people... it's just too much of an open goal to deniers. They say global warming, but it's freezing. As though that was the definitive argument. I tried in vain, by the way, to find a story about the weather in the national newspapers today. I am stunned. I couldn't find a single one. Normally, towards the weekend, there will be a story about the weather, particularly if it's as unpleasantly awful as it is at the moment. I can't believe it's so bad. Like, I really am actually stunned. But I was extra doubly stunned not to find a single word about the weather, even in the Express. Oh, the Express was frightening you to death about some health thing. What was it? I think it's... was it that mobile phones will kill you? If you ever use a mobile phone, your heart rate will go up massively. It was something along those lines. Was that the front page of the Express? Normally it's the weather. It'll be snowing. You'll be up to your armpits in hailstones the size of grapefruit before you know it. So maybe we should get the long-range weather forecast and we'll tell the nice people what to expect. 0845 6060 973, Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
Yeah.
In actually Watford. Dave.
Nick, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I just heard you talking about, so I just come in and about the, I just wanted the Bilderberg Group, and I just wanted to confirm that, according to the papers here in Watford, that is true.
There's a paper in Watford?
There is.
What's the name of it?
Watford has its own paper, the Watford Observer.
The Watford Observer. Well, it's just coincidentally, I'm looking at at their site on the World Wide Web right now. Let me... Where have you been, by the way? You've just come in.
Oh, I've just been down to a local pub.
Oh, what, out?
Yeah. I was just trying to catch up with some of the week's leftovers, but...
what does that mean?
Well, just got to email a few people, just notes and things like that.
Well, you went to the pub to email people?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. This is beginning to sound very suspicious.
I didn't tell you I was part of the group, did I?
Part of what group?
Of the Bilderberg.
Oh, the Bilderberg Group.
Yeah, I'm going to the meeting on that.
A county council candidate from Watford is helping to organise an anti-Bilderberg festival to protest against the controversial group's forthcoming meeting in the town. What the hell are they going to Watford for?
Well, I'll have to say, I mean, it's a nice place where they're going.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it's Watford. What are you talking about?
Well, it's one of those, what's that programme one? It's about the Watford that no one knows. And I think they did that. What was it now? James Mason did a programme. I saw
James Mason.
What was he on all those epics?
Lady with a hand in the air.
James Mason did the London Nobody Knows, and he didn't go to Watford.
That's right, but he did.
But the actor James Mason.
Yeah, it's really good.
1967.
He did the London Nobody Knows and the Watford Nobody Likes.
He didn't. He did not go to Watford. If he has, then I haven't seen that one, Dave.
But there you go. There's the first. Well, there's a first time for everything, isn't there? So, but there is a part of Watford. I mean, a lesser-known Watford that. Well, I wouldn't say nobody knows, but you would be amazed if you were to go not too far from Watford. All is not. Don't believe all you hear.
Well, now wait a minute. Are you telling me that the best thing about Watford is the road out? Are you actually saying that?
Well, not
yes.
Not much that, but it's how can I say? I don't want to sort of. There's always a problem. There's always a twist in the tale. If you draw everybody's like the Isle of Wight, and everybody says oh, it's not, and then I'm sure there isn't a dubious plot to keep everybody out of Watford, but I try to put it this way: I've never regretted moving here, and
Well, where did you move from?
Harrow.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, well, but I must admit, it's always relative, isn't it? There's an improvement, but
so this is in the Watford Observer. The first stunning part of this is that I can't believe that Watford's got its own paper, that it still exists.
Well, I was quite well. I mean, it's been running. It's quite. I mean, Watford was the home of the paper mills, and where quite a lot of the print media actually kicked off. I believe certainly in Watford has a history in print, going back to some printers, and definitely you should definitely pay a visit.
Oh yeah, I certainly will do that. I'll put it on my list. Beneath Beirut, Siberia, A county council candidate from Watford is helping to organise an anti-Bilderberg festival to protest against the controversial group's forthcoming meeting in the town. Sue Murray applied this week to Watford Borough Council for a temporary event licence for a family event on Westfield, a patch of land between Hempstead Road and the A41. Oh, that sounds a delight. When contacted by the Watford Observer, Ms Murray, who stood as a Green Party candidate for the Central Oxley division in the recent Hertfordshire County Council elections, said she had concerns about the Bilderberg coming to town, but was adamant that the event would be peaceful and law-abiding. Which one, the Bilderberg group or her own? She said the application is for a green event, taking into account the Bilderberg meeting. It's all a bit up in the air at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that surprises me, which kind of contradicts the whole aurora surrounding the Bilderberg group, is
Aurora? Did you say the Aurora? Wow, I had no idea. Groovy. I'd like to see that.
The whole, sorry, what the word is now, the whole mystique.
The Aurora.
Yowza. Surrounding it is the fact that it was published. I was quite amazed to actually find it in black and white print, the fact that they're actually disclosing that this group are actually meeting there.
Yeah, who are they, by the way? Anyway, this green event, is scheduled to last from June the 8th to the 12th. Is that the period at which the Bilderberg people are going to be there? That's a lot. Where are they going to stay?
Well, they will stay in this Grove Hotel, which is where they had, with the Tiger Woods. Well, actually, they have been there before. I'm not sure the Bilderberg group have been there before, but leaders have been there before to this the Grove Hotel, and which was formerly a site of I think it was the British Rail Management Training College. Before that, it was the Grove House, which was in the same sort of context as Canterbury House, mansions pretty much, of some repute, going back into 200 or 300 years ago, and but it has hosted other events like this. But it hosted that celebrated golf tournament a few years ago, and then I think they had the world leaders were there. Trying to think how long ago, a couple of years back, I suppose.
Watford, I am stunned. This Bilderberg group, by the way, meets annually in different locations, so says the Watford Observer, and says it provides its attendees a chance to that's a bad sentence. It provides its attendees a chance to off-the-record discussions about current events. So that sentence doesn't make sense in the Watford Observer. Previous attendees have included the leaders from industries such as banking, technology, as well as elected politicians from around the globe, and included, guess who? Have a wild stab in the dark. That's right, George Osborne.
I didn't know he'd been there. Who is he, by the way?
And Google CEO Eric Schmidt. And former chairman of Barclays. Oh, blimey, I hate all of them. The secret nature of events from which no minutes or records are published has provoked a growing protest movement. Around 800 people protested at the last meeting in Virginia, USA. And here's the Grove. Wow, look at that. That's where they'll be staying. Rooms. Let's have a look at the rooms. Let's see what they're... oh, look, there's a piano in this room.
If you don't want to stay the night, what you can do is you can go along there and have a cup of tea on the forecourt.
No, I couldn't possibly afford it.
Or if you don't want to do that, then you can go in the stables.
Yeah, that's where I'll be sleeping, in the stables. That sounds about my speed. All right, well, thanks for the bad news, Dave.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
All right, cheers, mate. Ta-ta. What kind of an insult was that, by the way? If I can't afford a room, I can go and have a cup of tea. That is outrageous. What?
And he said in the forecourt, he didn't even say inside.
Yeah, not even allowed inside the bloomin' hotel. They'll bring me a cup of tea out to the car park.
In a plastic cup.
Yeah, that's right. On the road that passes the hotel, if I slow down, they'll throw me a bottle of water through the window. But I am not allowed on the premises. That looks luxurious.
Yeah, it does.
Let's see how much it costs. Offers.
That's the spa for spa break.
Oh, spa.
They'll probably be enjoying a few massages and...
Spas are silly. Why do people waste their money on spas? I mean, a cup of coffee and a packet of fags, feet up and watch the TV. That's just as good as a spa. I'm right about that, aren't I?
I think that's a bit more affordable.
Yeah, exactly. More affordable, and the result is the same. Just have a nap. Spa. I went to a spa. Well, it was a spa in a hotel, and I got there was a menu in the room, and I thought, yeah, all right then. And it was a spa of many. Like the treatment was of many different stages, and the first stage was a bath. Just sit in this bath, and I thought no, and left. That is my only experience of a spa. Load of old rubbish, and that is my considered opinion. 0845 6060 973.
This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
I'm listening, dear. You can talk to me.
I wish Spitalfields was called something else. Lady with a hand in the air?
Do you know why it's called Spitalfields, though? Nah. It's what the medieval word was for hospitals.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
And that got a from Zora.
Are you sure it got a few at home as well?
No, it got a few one of those and a boring. I did not know that. Spitalfields.
I know you didn't know that. That was what they used to call hospitals, spittals.
Why?
And it was the fields of the hospital.
Covered in spit.
It could make you think of spit, but that was the medieval word for hospitals.
Right. Thanks.
Welcome, anytime.
You know, there used to be a sign on the top of the bus that said no spitting. It said no smoking. This is how stupid the smoking laws used to be. You could smoke on the top of the bus at the back, but not at the front. As though the smoke would respect that. Same thing in cinemas. I can't believe, by the way, it still shocks me every time I go out to the pub, that the people aren't allowed to smoke in there. And people obey it. They obeyed it the instant that law came into being. I am stunned. But in cinemas, you used to be able to smoke, was it on the left-hand side? Or no, because non-smokers were the ones that used to get the tiny area. In a restaurant, if you were a non-smoker, then you got to sit in the toilet. Everyone else, all smokers used to have, full range of the place. But if you were a non-smoker, some sort of tree-hugging, hippie non-smoker, then you used to have to sit in a table outside, in the road. You used to be able to smoke on a bus at the back. How silly. But there was no spitting anywhere. No spitting. Spitting would get you a £5 fine. Have you got your hand in the air, or you just got an armpit problem?
I haven't got an armpit problem. I was just stretching my hand up.
Oh.
But whilst you're talking about smoking...
Well, you want to watch that because you could bid on something. You could go home with this show. Yes?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to get back to smoking. And on aeroplanes, there was just a little curtain, wasn't there, separating smoking and non-smoking?
Yeah, if you have exploding shoes, then please sit in the back of the plane. If your underpants are on fire, then alert a waitress. Oh, there was something about just that. Hang on a minute. Tiny story inside the Telegraph's front page. Oh, it's not the planes, it's the rail. Virgin Rail staff are threatening to strike after a union leader echoed concerns over their see-through outfits.
What?
Bob Crow, a man who you never want to see in a see-through outfit. He's the General Secretary of the RMT. He said RMT members deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. We are quite prepared to ballot for industrial action to ensure they do not have to wear this totally unsuitable uniform. Virgin Trains spokesman said reaction to the uniform has generally been positive. Yeah, mostly. Whoa, that's the nature of the reaction to a see-through uniform in a positive way. Whoa, like that. Look at that. Whoa, eh? That's the editorial meeting to decide the photograph that goes on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. Whoa, look at that one there. Lovely top Tory totty. That was a recording made yesterday. Here is a call in... Oh, by the way, the top Tory totty on the front page of the Telegraph today was David Beckham. If in doubt, if no woman is available, stick David Beckham's the hairy face on the front page of it. Oh, God.
Well, he's been in the news, that's why.
Yeah, I know that.
I like it when he's in the news.
You and David sitting in a tree. Kissing. What is it about that man? I mean, is it that he appears...
Do you really have to ask?
Yes. Is it that he appears soft and girly?
No.
That's what it is, though, isn't it?
He does not appear soft and girly.
He is a little
Take that
bit
back.
soft and girly. I think you'll find that that's right.
I would like to see who would win in a fight between you and David Beckham.
Well, as soon as I've taken on Mike Tyson, then I'll deal with David Beckham.
They're all forming an orderly queue, aren't they, to have a little bit of a fisticuff with you.
The thing with David Beckham is that he gives great hair. He should donate his hair to science.
He should.
Because it doesn't matter what you do with it. And you think he's done so much with it that it wouldn't have any hair left. Will you stop going, oh... Well, don't you think the tattoos are a bit stupid?
See, I'm not a fan of tattoos, but I can forgive that in this case.
Right, you'll look past the tattoos.
I always look past
right,
the
to
tattoos.
a part that is not tattooed. Well, good luck with finding that. His face isn't tattooed. At least he has avoided on the from the behind, from the back. He is tattooed above the collar, but not from the front.
He's got that funny little angel thing on the back, hasn't he?
I think they're all ridiculous. And he is, I think, personally responsible for all footballers being covered in tattoos from head to foot, and they all look daft.
Apart from him.
You'd have to admit that the only reason that he is as famous as he is because he looks soft and girly.
He does not look soft and girly.
A little bit soft and girly, that's right.
Take that back, Nick.
I'm not taking it back, it's true.
It's not true.
It is because of the symmetry of his face, it's because he gives great hair, and because he doesn't look threatening. He's kind of like a boy band member.
No,
isn't
he's not.
Yes, girls go goo goo gaga over One Dimension and all those other singing floating clouds because they are so girly and unthreatening.
Yeah, 14-year-old girls maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm not 14.
She said the woman who was just going, oh. Just at the very mention of his name.
Anyway, weren't you going to speak to Seb in Watford?
No, I'm going to take you apart for going all dreamy-eyed over David Beckham.
Listen, you can say what you like.
Yes.
You can say what you like about me, but
Yes.
don't you pick on David.
Well, I'm not picking on him. You see, for all the stick and all the coverage, I mean, you don't get famous without getting people who are criticising you at all. Because especially in this country, if anybody is successful in any way, then you will get people who just can't stand it. Because we don't do success. We don't like success. We're the inverse of America in that regard. But the thing with him is, he just seems to be a nice person. Which, you know, for somebody who's that rich, who's that famous and successful, either he is the greatest actor in history, or he's just a nice person. How about that? It's a first, particularly in football, where, you know, most of them are drunk, wife-beating scumbags. And he just doesn't seem to be any of those things. He seems to be a good father and a good husband, and he does what Victoria tells him to do. He seems to be a nice person. It's kind of, it's almost difficult to detest him for earning so much money. Almost, but not quite. And now, of course, now that he's not doing his day job, he can concentrate on earning money. It's remarkable, really. I mean, people will bang on as they do. You know, football experts will say, well, you know, he wasn't that great. He could only kick with one foot, and he was no good in the air, and his tackling was rubbish, and etc. and so on. And he was basically a one-trick pony. That's what people will say. But the thing is, you know, occasionally you will have watched the England team with him in it, and he's the only one who seemed to be trying. He often would pull the entire England team through just by his effort alone. And he sort of gives a lie to the modern notion that you can be successful without really trying, or without trying at all. Success will just be dumped upon you, like those that freak show that parades itself in front of Simon Cowell. I just want to be famous, seems the retort of the day. As though you don't need to do anything to become rich and famous other than to want to become rich and famous. Well, look at him. I mean, people will see that, he's got 100 million quid in the bank. Well, he's done no end of working for it. Famously first into the training ground and last to leave. Kicking balls over and over and over again. Because this sort of stuff, I mean, you may get born with an ability to do it, but if you want to be expert at it, if you want to be one of the best in the world, then it takes hour upon hour upon hour of boring, boring practice. But you don't see that part, you just see the part at the end result. And people think that, it doesn't require any work. It doesn't require any work to become rich and famous. All you need to do is to want to be it. Speaking of which, I wonder how much I've won on the Euro Millions lottery today. Talking about unearned money, vast amounts of it. I'll get my winning numbers up. I'm very excited. £53 million. I've just won £53 million. I've got a very good feeling about this. Here's a call in Watford, a person called Seb. Seb.
Hi there.
Seb.
Yep. Yeah, right. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm, I phoned up when you were surprised that it was in Watford and was it really in Watford. But it's been confirmed by the Hertfordshire Constabulary when they hired out the local rugby club and locked down it's between 6th and the 9th. I think you mentioned some other dates, but it starts on the Thursday and finishes on Sunday. And the hotel, I only know because my girlfriend is in catering, and the hotel's locked down for the 4 days. But one of the reasons it's used, it's got underground air raid shelters, and it's known as the London Estate, and it's often used by the nobility, which are the Bilderberg group, as you probably know. And
so they're using it because it's got, if World War III breaks out, or if people become very irritated with their prisons.
It's a very secure building, and it's easily secure because it's bordered by canals and forests, and it's quite a secure area.
Right. Sounds like a schloss.
Yeah, well, Queen Beatrix is coming over to hand over, because she's retired this year, isn't she? She retired from nobility in April, on the end of April, and she's coming over she heads the Bilderberg group, and she's handing it over to whoever she hands it over to. And our incoming Bank of England Governor, Mark Carney's there as well, which is probably a nod as he enters, as what's his name, Mervyn King.
Melvin,
yeah. Yeah. But all these guys there are the nobility of industry, insurance and investment. I mean, a good example is Henry de Castries, who runs the AXA Group, is the chairman of the steering committee and runs the global investment group of 730 billion in assets.
Well, I'm sure they're all doing good work and have our best interests at heart.
And I think that's the kind of conflict between... I mean, Alex Jones is going to go there as kind of self-elected nobility of the protest movement, but...
Alex Jones, the American talk show host? Oh, Struth. If I hear another word from that man, it'll be one too many.
Well, whatever you hear will be through a megaphone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you don't need one.
No. But,
did you see his interview with Piers Morgan? If you haven't seen Alex Jones talking to, and that word talking to is in inverted commas, if you haven't seen Alex Jones talking to Piers Morgan about the America's love affair with automatic weaponry, then go and dial it up on the World Wide Web. It is illuminating and amusing in equal measure. But turn down the volume because it's really loud. You don't want to wake the neighbours. Thanks, Seb. 0845 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
This is LBC 97.3. Health Online brings you surprise conversation with Nick Abbott.
You're wondering what it's all about, and I can't tell you because I don't know myself.
OK, I've just had this important and incisive email. It says, enough of Beckham already. We're not all football obsessed, says Tanya. We're not talking about football, Tanya. We're talking about David Beckham. That's the thing about him, is that he is He's not a footballer. He's celebrity. He's famous, isn't it, Tanya? And he's one of the few people of his ilk who are famous that has an actual real-life proper day job. Because all of these other people who are famous for being famous, the nature of their fame is paper thin. I mean, even actors, you could say that what they do is just a bunch of nothing, pretending to be other people. What kind of a job is that? Silly. All of these people that are on TV, the Kardashians, all of those reality people, all of those people that are paraded in front of Simon Cowell and they're famous for 5 minutes, pop stars and all of the rest of them, silly, ephemeral, paper-thin jobs. David Beckham, on the other hand, even though he is feminine and girly...
You can say that all you want, I do not agree.
...has an actual, real-life man's job. Which is probably the only way that he... No, actually, I was going to say it's the only way he could have got away with his fashion choices. But it's the nature of the job that made it even harder for him to do that. It's a remarkable thing that he's done, actually. In a sport that's as rigid and set in the past, and as desperately, needily masculine as football, as kind of pathetically... more than any other sport, I can't think of a single other sport. You try and name one that's as desperately masculine as football. Rugby is a much more manly sport, and yet it's not as pathetically, needily, desperately heterosexual in the way that its players comport themselves. Is that a word? Comport? Mm-hmm. It just sounds like a noise.
Deport, no.
Deport?
Mm.
Comfort.
Comfort themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's something different entirely.
Is it? He's the only one that I can think of that has sort of experimented with his own. Now this is going to sound superficial as well, but it is relatively important that has sort of experimented with the way he looks like him. And there's a few people who came up after him, but name me another footballer who wears makeup, who styles their hair in the way that he... What?
He doesn't wear makeup.
Yeah, he has worn makeup before.
Only on photo shoots, but not...
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah, but no, I read it in I think it was in the Telegraph.
I think you're a bit more obsessed with David Beckham than I am.
No, it's just that you can't have avoided reading about him this week, because he has retired, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why he's on the front of all the papers.
Exactly.
He's in the news.
Yeah. Front page and back pages. But try and think of somebody else who has taken more risks with his masculinity than David Beckham. Other than, I mean, you'd have to say David Bowie. Who's in between?
Yeah, but the field that David Bowie's in
is
masculine,
is massively girly.
A massively masculine field. So
that's right. You get maximum points if you are a pop star, especially in the 70s when David Bowie experimented with pretending that he was bi, or whether he was or not, I don't know, who cares. But that's what he said at the time, and then there was that, he put his arm around Mick Taylor and Mick Ronson.
Oh.
Well, yeah, Mick Jagger too.
I was
all
thinking
of those
of
men.
Dancing in the Street.
Oh, painful, awful song. That's got to be the worst thing that either of those two people have been responsible for. Horrible track. Although, I used to own the very same pair of trousers that Mick Jagger wore in that video. The exact same ones. Look it up on the World Wide Web.
What, you actually, the ones that he wore?
No, not those ones, but I bought a pair in my size in a gentleman's outfitters.
After seeing him wearing them in the video? Oh, that looks like a nice pair of trousers.
Definitely not, no. I was appalled to see that we were wearing the same thing.
Right, while you talk to Elizabeth,
you're going to look it up on the World Wide Web. Yeah, OK, good luck with that. Elizabeth, Worcester Park.
Hello.
Elizabeth.
Hi there, Nick.
Elizabeth, before we go along, can you turn the radio down, please?
You're in good form as usual.
Thanks very much, Elizabeth. Turn the radio down.
Yes, it's off.
Is it?
Yes. Why, can you still hear something?
Well, there seems to be a hubbub in the background.
How's that?
That's much better.
Oh, Nick, I'm just coming back to Watford.
Oh, I
You
do commiserate.
Make me laugh taking the mickey out of Watford. But I have to come to their defence, you see, because I actually we were there for a couple of days at Watford Hotel.
Which hotel was that?
The Grove.
Oh, yeah, this is the one where the Bilderberg Group are going to be staying.
Oh, very, very, very swish.
Is it?
The thing is, my husband has prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Hello, you still there?
I am.
And he was a guinea pig for about 6 years to get a cure. And this was all done through Royal Marsden
But what's this
Hospital.
got to do with the hotel?
Yes, I'm telling you. So, because the drug that they were testing worked, America came along and invited my husband to come to a conference at the Grove Hotel.
Oh, yes.
So that's how.
So you're on a freebie?
Absolutely.
Right. Did you get a suite?
Absolutely. It was wonderful. And you spoke about the piano. So my husband also played on that piano for them. Yeah, that's my story about the Grove Hotel.
Right.
It's a wonderful long drive before you see the hotel. It's sort of on a hill.
Right. So, in other words, the security team around the Bilderberg will have excellent opportunity to aim before they fire. Yeah.
And Queen Beatrix, bless her little heart.
So, did you order? You didn't touch the minibar, did you, Elizabeth?
Everything. I mean, it was all there for us.
Oh,
And we
it was
didn't pay a
complimentary,
penny.
was it? Oh, well, then
Absolutely.
you should help yourself to the
Champagne galore.
Toblerone, the lot. Excellent. Well,
And excellent food.
it's
You would love it.
It's the only way to fly. Free. It's my favourite.
Anyway, Nick, you keep up the good work.
Thanks
We
a
love
lot,
your-
Elizabeth.
We love your radio chat.
Cheers, my dear.
Okay, good night.
Ta-ta.
God bless.
What a nice lady. 0845 6060 973. There you are, you see. You found it on the World Wide Web.
Wow, there's some nice trousers.
Trousers, yeah.
Mm.
Catherine Hamnett, the best that could be, the best that was available at that time.
Designer ones as well, wow.
Well, I'm a designer kind of guy.
You?
Shut up.
Did you have the shirt to go with it?
No, that would be too much.
What did you wear the trousers with?
Style. Thanks for asking. 0845. Have you found out what the weather's going to be like over the next 5 days? Never mind about peering at my trousers. Keep your eyes off my trousers. Weather, please, and we'll take the my winning Euro Millions lottery numbers. 0845 6060 973. Do either one of these callers want to speak to me? No. Talking about the weather, the sun has unleashed 4 potent solar flares this week, marking the most intense activity yet this year and causing limited interruptions to high-frequency radio communications. The latest flares began on May the 13th and have set off bursts of radiation from the sun, known as coronal mass ejections. The strongest travelled particularly fast at a speed of approximately 1,400 miles per second. This is what NASA said. The coronal mass ejections have so far not been directed at Earth, but may impact satellites if they do. Experts say that a rise in solar activity is common right now because the sun is in a phase of its 11-year activity cycle that is nearing the solar maximum expected in 2013. Yeah, right. They're inviting us to believe that they can tell what the weather's going to be like on the sun at the end of this year, but they can't, with any accuracy, predict what the weather's going to be like on Earth the following day. According to space weather experts, more strong solar flares may be expected in the coming days. What the hell do they know? Coronal mass ejections send off potent radiation, but the Earth is protected by a magnetic field. It's okay, everyone. The authorities say we're completely safe. 0845 6060 973. This is Nick Abbott, LBC 97.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
Let's take a call in Stansted. Hello, Pat.
Oh, hello there.
Pat. Hello
This
there.
is what I call the weather, a blackthorn winter.
What's that
A
mean?
blackthorn hedge, which is slow, it's like a wild dabson, comes out, blossom came out very, very profuse about 3 weeks ago, and then we get 5 to 6 weeks of very unpredictable weather.
Yes, ne'er cast a clout till May is out.
Yeah, but it is very accurate. It is very accurate, and it's absolutely going to form at the moment.
A bush.
I know.
A bush.
Yes, it's a bush. It's blackthorn.
You're saying that a bush can predict the weather?
Yeah, that's true.
So man has constructed a computer the size of a football pitch. I'm not making that up. It actually is, at a cost of hundreds of millions of pounds,
That's
and
it,
it
yeah,
can't predict the
yeah.
weather at all. And a bush in your area.
Well, no, it's everywhere in the countryside. When you go, if you drive through the countryside, you'll get what I call hedges full of little white flowers.
And that's a blackthorn bush.
Yes, you can look it up on Google, blackthorn winter, and it'll tell you that.
Right. Hey, Amanda, look up bush on Google.
No, bush is no good. You've got blackthorn winter.
Right. Okay, cancel that. Thanks a lot, Pat.
Okay.
Now, have we got the weather forecast for the next 5 days? I'm going to consult my bush. If only I knew that it was that easy.
I use a piece of seaweed.
Do you?
Yeah, that works.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna drop that whole thing right there. Just
Yeah, let's just leave that.
You agree with that, do you?
Yeah, we're moving on swiftly.
Saturday. That is today. Wow, we're in Saturday already. What's the date? What date is it?
18th.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's practically June.
Well, it's 13 days away from June, so we've still got a couple of weeks.
13?
Yeah, 31 days in May.
18 and 3 is carry 1 and that's 6. 31. Yeah, all right then. Today, 16 degrees and cloudy. Sunday, 17 degrees and raining. Monday, and you know what? The weather is actually getting warmer. 16 to 17. 16 today, Saturday, 16 the high. 17 on Sunday. And then guess what? That's right, it gets colder again.
Oh, no.
Can you believe it? Monday, 15 and raining. Tuesday, 15 and cloudy. Not white clouds either. Heavy, dark, pendulous clouds. Well, this is awful. When is this going to end? I am sick of it. And the following week... What is the point of these people? Seriously, I mean, how can they be so vague? It's Wednesday. They seem certain it's going to be 16 degrees and cloudy. And then from that point on, it's as though they just give up. They're just pulling numbers out of the air. It's either going to be, on Thursday, it's either going to be 9 degrees, the high, or 20. Well, that's the difference between freezing cold and balmy. And then that's the same picture until Sunday week. They've got no idea what they're talking about. These people are utterly, totally useless. Here's calling Kingsbury. Hello, David.
Hello, Nick.
David.
Sorry to call about global warming again. You keep raising it, so I have to call because I've
My
got
fault.
loads of figures. Oh, I don't mind. People do need to know. Now, basically, there are two levels of climate research. There's the complexities, but there is the large picture in which it is all contained. So, people don't really need to worry about or know too much about the complexities because as long as the big picture is known about, we can all understand it.
Right, okay. Colour the big picture for us.
Okay, the big picture is that we have two things going on which may be related or may not be related, but there's no guarantee of either. We've got the CO2 rise, which we know about, and that is pretty easy to measure and pretty direct, but I will say as a rider that we're not 100% sure where it comes from. There are plenty of studies saying it might come from temperature rise outgassing CO2 that was already in the ocean. So even that, we don't know it's man-made CO2. It could be coming from numerous other places, but it is rising.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the IPCC, the UN Climate Department, put out a report every 4 years giving all the criteria that everyone else has to work under. And most of these individuals, whether they're qualified or reporters or whatever, keep deviating from the IPCC's own rules and regulations. So whether you believe in it or not is irrelevant. The point is you have to actually stick to what the IPCC have said. And they have said very clearly that CO2 doubles to produce 1°C rise in temperature. So we've got 33 centigrade on Earth above space, and they say from out of all that, one centigrade is from the existing 260 parts per million that we had before it started rising. That was in 1850. Now, the experiment is 50% risen. So you've got to say that the 2 centigrade rise that the IPCC say that the advantage is. Because how many people know the advantages of a warming planet, like greater food and fewer deaths from cold and everything? So the advantages do exist, and they won't be outweighed by the possible disadvantages till we reach a 2 centigrade rise. Now, CO2 doubling can only produce a 1 centigrade rise. It's not capable of producing more. The only thing that will do that is water vapour. So it's a very simple equation. Basically, they are saying that the rising temperature from the 1 centigrade of CO2 will then set back this feedback effect where the ocean evaporates, creates humidity, which is a far more powerful. I mean, 95% of the greenhouse effect is caused by water vapour, and only a couple of percent are caused by CO2, and the rest is things like methane and other bits and bobs, but it's nearly all water vapour. So it would increase the water vapour. But the problem with water vapour is half of it will either go and form clouds which block the sun out and cause shade, or humidity which keeps it in, and they don't know which.
Well, you seem to convince yourself that you're, or you are certain that you're right. But what you're saying is, with certainty, is what might happen under unimaginably complex circumstances. Well, if they can't predict what the weather's going to be like with any accuracy tomorrow, how on earth can you say that a 1 degree rise will cause this, that, or the other?
No, this is the IPCC. I'm just saying what they said in 1990s onwards. Now, the actual experiment is 50% run, over 50% run, because we've had a rise of CO2 of more than 50%, and the temperature has refused to rise any more than the bare amount of 1 centigrade would on a doubling. So it's gone up 0.8 on a rising trend, which they said maybe about half of that is due to CO2. The rest was rising from the Little Ice Age onwards. So double that, and we are never going to reach more than just about 1.5 centigrade at a 520 parts per million. It's just physically, there is no other mechanism known after a 50% rise to increase that. There is no positive feedback. That's purely from observation that you can say CO2's risen by over 50%. The temperature's risen by under what it needs to for positive feedback. Therefore, when it rises to 520 or even 1,000, because it halves its power every time it rises, it still can't, because it's a logarithmic progression. Another doubling will be up to 1,000 parts per million, which probably can't happen. If
this is you explaining it to me, then I am lost swimming in a sea of figures. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, but it doesn't really make any difference. I mean, it doesn't. You can try to explain this with statistics until you're blue in the face. Somebody else could take the exact same stats and make the opposite case.
It's not possible.
Convincingly.
It really isn't possible. You can't have doubling CO2 where half the doubling has already happened and it's risen by 0.8 centigrade. If you double that again, it's almost guaranteed to double another 0.8 centigrade.
No such thing is guaranteed. I mean, it's like butterflies' wings. It's tiny change somewhere could cause massive effects somewhere else.
There's no known delay or expectation of delay in the positive feedback. It's supposed to, if you evaporate a puddle, that water will evaporate steadily. If you heat up a puddle, that water will just gradually evaporate.
Yeah, well, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. But if you're talking about evaporation on like a massive scale of oceans, no one has any idea what the effect of that might be.
Well, we we've had 150 years to see the carbon dioxide rise by 50%, which is totally unprecedented, as they say. But the actual temperature rise is negligible. It's well within normal parameters. And if you continue to reach to 520, which it will do in maybe 50 or 100 years, it's almost impossible to even breach the 2 centigrade rise.
All right, well, okay,
we've
well,
got halfway
this is
already.
all excruciating detail, but let me ask you something more general. Why, if you are right, do you seem to be a lone voice in the wilderness, and almost all scientific opinion is opposing you?
Well, all I can say is that there are huge numbers. I mean, look up Roy Spencer, people like him that agree with me, and secondly, wait till they retire, and one by one they all start to agree with me. See, they're working for organisations where the organisation tells them what they're allowed to say and what they're not.
Well, I've heard this argument before, but there are organisations that have a lot more money than whoever is paying for climate change scientists. There are, absolutely. But the oil giants, for a start.
They paid for the climate scientists. SO and BP funded the Climate Research Unit, among others. There's a whole list of funders from East Anglia University and BP and Shell. They make a fortune from renewable energy subsidies. They're energy companies. There's no such thing as an oil company.
Yeah, but whatever they make from renewable energy pales into insignificance compared to how much they're making from fossil fuels.
Well, they're winning both ways, you see. Because if you restrict oil,
well, not really, because the amount from the amount they're getting from renewables is tiny, is insignificant by comparison. Absolutely.
You look up the figures for America, the billions that they've already spent on it. You'd be amazed. It's almost as much as we spend on defence here. I mean, the subsidies for renewables in the Western world are phenomenal. You could probably cure the recession with it if you hadn't spent it. It's like Trident, but do that for every country of Europe and America.
Well, so what's the game? What's in Europe? Okay, but if you dispute all of the science as it's presented to us, then why are they doing it?
Why are they doing it? Well, have you heard of Agenda 21, United Nations sustainability law that we've all signed up to, which basically is trying to spread equality amongst the world and bring up the third world to a higher standard and bring down the developed world, so they're all pretty much equal.
Well, no, I would believe that the first part, bring up the third world, but why would they want to bring down the first world?
I don't honestly know, but I mean, what they were talking about, the Bilderberg, I mean, the Club of Rome, they're all run by David Rockefeller, actually published the Global Revolution, I think it's called, 1991. They published their meeting. Bilderberg is private, but the Club of Rome isn't private. And they said they will use all of this to create a new world order, whatever that means. The threat of global warming is there to allow people to have far greater taxes. Because, you know, if you were told, your gas bill's going to go up by 50% in the next 10 years, you have a revolution. But say it's to save the planet, and suddenly everyone says, all right, then take even more. So, I mean, it's a way of creating a problem to get people to do what they want. It's tragic, but but once people know about it, they won't let it happen.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of argument kind of leaves me speechless because it's the sort of unhinged conspiracy theory nonsense that you read about, people shout about on the internet.
Well, Otmar Edenhofer, who is the economic head of the UN IPCC, said if people think it's about the environment, they're wrong. It's about economic redistribution. That was 2 years ago to, I think it was Der Spiegel, to a German newspaper, and nobody else bothered to report it.
Well,
now,
perhaps
that's
for a very good reason they didn't report it. They wouldn't report it if I said something that wasn't true either.
But it is true. I've got the original interview.
No, I'm not saying that it's not true that he said it.
He did say it, yeah.
Well, I believe that he said it, but just because he said it doesn't make it true.
But he is the horse's mouth. He is the chief of the economic, whatever it is, of the UN IPCC. And if he says that's true, well, people ought to believe him, because, you know, if I'm saying it, I'm the messenger, but he's the actual organ grinder.
But there's no end of organ grinders, and you're dismissing everything that all of them say and alighting on the one person that you agree with.
I mean, I can quote somebody like Miklos Zagoni, who was sacked from NASA and had somebody hacked his email, his website, to remove his study showing that global warming wasn't caused by man, and he had to leave because they said, well, you can work for us, but don't put this sort of thing out.
Right. Well, maybe that's because they don't agree with him.
But all this stuff is peer reviewed. There's as much stuff which is coming out now showing that the sun, the solar activity, and the decadal oscillations, the Earth's wobble, you put them together and they correlate far closer with the temperature than CO2 ever will. And this is all new stuff this year. I follow it. I get feeds coming through every day.
Right, okay, well, my advice to you and everybody else is stop reading stuff on the net.
But it's all proper scientific papers.
Yes, but there's no end of proper scientific papers that are saying the exact opposite to what you've just said.
They don't know and they disagree, but all we know is what's already happening. And the ones that are saying the opposite are based in the future. The ones that are saying...
No, they're not actually based in the future. They're based on what has actually happened in the past. On May the 9th, a new study of lake sediments from a remote meteorite crater in Siberia showed that temperatures in the region were 8 centigrade higher the last time that CO2 levels were as high as they are today.
Well, in that case, then it can't be the CO2, because otherwise they'd be 8 centigrade higher now.
Well, no, but things don't follow immediately, David, do they?
Well, they've got to follow at all, but the thing is that we all know that in our lifetimes we can measure things directly, because proxy records are all very good, but they are limited. Direct measurement is the only thing we can go by. We have measured directly the CO2 for hundreds of years, and the temperature we've used thermometers for about the last 150 years, and there is no such relationship between the rise in CO2 and the rise in temperature.
But that's not correct. The temperature has risen as the CO2 has risen.
Yeah, but very slightly and way below anything that can breach 2 centigrade. Below 2 centigrade, everything's fine. There is literally nothing to worry about. And everybody in the UN is saying that, and people are going crazy over something which it can't actually physically happen for at least 50 to 100 years, even if it did.
Well, now, wait a minute, back up. Can't happen. First of all, it was can't happen, and now it's can't happen for 50 years. You see, once again, it's exactly what I've been saying all along. Short-termism is what will do for mankind. It's this notion that, oh, well, it won't happen for a little while, so to hell with it. Anyway, David, neither you nor I are going to agree with the other, so there's a precious little point in carrying on, but it was amusing while it lasted. Thanks for that. 0845 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC973. This is Nick Abbott, LBC 97.3.
3. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC973. This is London's biggest conversation with Nick Abbott.
Wow, so have we solved this whole global warming thing?
No.
Not really, no. I don't understand any of it. Speaking as somebody who has got no idea what he's talking about, I do or do not believe it, depending on the last opinion that I heard. Yeah, whatever I read in the papers, that's what I believe. Here's one in West Hampstead. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, hello, Nick.
Peter.
A quick comment on the previous caller. Did you know the space station has a camera that people like you and I can book to use? And it's called the Earth Cam, spelt with a K. And all one has to do is to wait till they go over the North Pole and photograph it. And the white at the North Pole is getting less and less and less, and that is alarming. But what I was doing...
correspondingly, the white at the South Pole is getting more and more.
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
Oh, well, you may be right.
You gave up pretty quick.
I don't know, to be quite honest.
I think I read that, yeah.
But I was... you slightly... disrespected NASA, saying that they were anticipating big solar flares in a couple of days. Well, they're on their way. There's no question about that. I'm not saying that they said that they were coming here. They said that the sun will squirt out some solar flares in the next couple of days. The sun has squirted out the solar flares, and they are travelling. But it takes them several days to arrive.
Yeah, but that's not what they were saying. They weren't saying that they are expected here within the next couple of days. They were expecting the sun to squirt out another couple. That's what they were saying.
Have you got Google up in front of you?
Well, we're using a government computer, so yeah, it'll be ready in 6 years, and it will only cost you £50 million, and then it won't work.
Cheap at the price. But I mean, if you can't get Google now, put APOD, APOD, and NASA into Google.
Yeah.
And if you do it before about 5 or 6 this morning, today's APOD, astronomical picture of the day, shows some solar flares, which are pretty vicious and vigorous items.
Yeah, but they're not coming this way, though, are they?
Yes, they are. And they take about 3 days to arrive. So if the thing erupts, it'll hit us in 3 days' time. So these mass ejections take a long time. They're slow.
Well, they travel at 1,400 miles a second.
Yes.
That may be slow in West Hampstead, Peter.
It is slow in West Hampstead, but in the great scheme of things, it still means they've got 93 million miles to travel.
Yeah. So that's 1,400, divided into 19 is 3 and carry the 6. I've got no idea.
It's I think 3 days.
Yeah, like I said, 3 days.
So, I mean, this pocket of ionized gas will head towards the Earth. When it hits the magnetic field, it will be deflected. But because it's so enormous, it'll be deflected a bit to the left, to the South Pole, and a bit to the right, to the North Pole. And they then enter the Earth.
So does this mean that it would be an excellent time to go and see the Aurora Borealis?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it might be visible in Scotland.
You're a roaring Borealis.
I sure am.
That was a line from Cheers, by the way. That was one of my favourite lines from Cheers ever.
Cheers. They are repeating
Yes,
Cheers
they are, yeah.
on one of the funny channels.
You do get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside when you watch... This is a psychological fact. You might want to write this down, Peter. You do get a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. It actually affects your mood positively if you re-watch a sitcom that you previously enjoyed. Watching repeats of sitcoms is actually even better for you psychologically than watching them the first time round.
Well, if you do, if you take, I suppose The Simpsons isn't actually a sitcom, I suppose.
Well, it is, yeah.
Sort of is. I mean, it's at so many levels that you can see some of these.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And it's quite interesting how they pitch quite silly things for children, like Homer going round in circles. You know, that's just for the 5 to 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yes,
but then they'll give then they'll throw a bone to the adults as well, with
absolutely,
whatever it might be.
And so some of the Bleeding Gums Murphy ones, the one where he dies, and I think
spoiler alert, he dies.
Bleeding Gums dies, yes.
I have no idea who that is.
Bleeding Gums Murphy, the blues player who plays the saxophone on the blues.
Yeah.
And it's quite clever the way they deal. They're introducing the concept of death to younger children. I think that's what it's about.
But I think the nature of watching a repeat of something that you've previously enjoyed as a comedy is it removes any sort of tension there might be in watching something where you don't know where it's going. And so you only get the warm fuzziness of it's like revisiting old friends.
Yes. Did you watch The Big Bang Theory?
No, I gave up on that. My favourite one at the moment is a thing called, and it's on a channel I didn't even know existed. It's called Community. Have you ever seen that?
I thought that was on between 5 and 7 in the morning.
Well, that's why God invented personal video recorders.
But I mean,
it's on Sony TV channel, whatever it's called, the Sony TV channel, which is, I don't even know what number it is, but search for it on your electronic guide.
No, you've got a knobbier setup than I have.
Community is what it's called. And
I've got something called Community, yes, but it's only 2 hours a day, and it's between 5 o'clock in the morning and 7.
Well, and it's not community television, it's a sitcom called Community.
Oh, I see. No, I don't know what you mean.
No, you don't want to watch. You don't want to watch a program called not a program from your community.
Boring.
Even in West Hampstead, that would be boring, Peter.
But are we talking about a channel called Community or
no? It was a sitcom. Are you listening to this show? It's called Community. It's a sitcom from America, and it's got Chevy Chase in it. Very, very funny. It's got Chevy Chase and John Goodman and the fat guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm was on there just the other day. All these guests come on. It's excellent.
No, I don't know it at all.
Right. Well, you've got a lot of homework to do, Peter.
I certainly will. I'll be straight on to that.
Okay, excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Another saved soul. A satisfied customer. So we've sorted out global warming. We've sorted out, what else? We've taken the Russian government to task. Solar flares, petrol pricing. What else? Oh, MI5. I gave them a right going over. The government's inability to work a computer. And UKIP. That seems like a full show to me. And now, my winning Euro Millions numbers. Lay 'em on me, baby.
Okie dokie. So, how much are you going to win again?
£53 million.
Okay, good luck.
Ask me how much you're going to get.
I know the answer.
0.
Yes, thank you. So, I really hope you win, Nick.
Yes, 8.
I'm rooting for you. No.
20.
Yeah, you've got that.
I've got 20.
You've got 20.
Hey, on Euro Millions, you actually get money if you get 2, don't you?
Do you?
This is great news.
Here's hoping.
What an awful person you are.
What am I going to get from it?
The pleasure of seeing me happy.
You won't have to work with him anymore.
39. 41.
No.
44.
Get it!
What a great game.
So did you get it for one number?
What do I get for one number? The pleasure of your smiling face.
I, for one, am glad you didn't win, because it would mean that you wouldn't be here anymore and I wouldn't get to see you every week.
Oh,
that would be a real shame for me.
Shut up.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, it wouldn't work if I did, because I'm here for the next 4 hours.
Get on with it.
Okay, goodbye. Your show's over. We're going to talk about parking and whether you can beat a couple of the stories that have been around this week. We're going to talk about whether a fat child means a bad parent. And we're going to talk about company complaints as well, the worst kinds of shops that you shop in.
On FM, online and digital radio, London's biggest conversation. This is LBC 90.